Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath and fire my spirit. Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath and fire my spirit. I like to sing to the earth, I like to hold her. She likes to sing to me, she likes to hold me. I like to sing to the earth, I like to hold her. She likes to sing to me, she likes to hold me. I carry fistfuls of leaves. I make love to the breeze. I carry fistfuls of bones. I trust they will lead me home. I carry grief on my wings. I know why caged birds sing. Through many turns of this moon, my women have suffered wounds, but my grandmother's with me. Close your eyes, can't you see? And my grandchildren are here, the rose, the crow, and the deer. I am surrounded by light, the light of stories. I need to quiet my mind, I need to listen. We are surrounded by light, the light of stories. We need to quiet our minds, we need to listen. Earth my body, water my body, air my breath and fire my spirit. Earth my body, water my spirit. Earth my body, earth my body, water my blood, air my breath and fire my spirit.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our 35th of 52 lessons from our elders and wisdom keepers. Before I introduce our speaker, John Pappan, I'm going to open with a prayer. Father Sky, Mother Earth, all our ancestors, all our relatives, how grateful we are once again to step inside this most sacred circle. We ask, Creator and Mother, that you are present during this lesson, that you fill us with your spirit and your love and your guidance. I ask you protect us throughout this week and guide our steps, and may we walk in a way that is pleasing in your sight. We thank you once again for this circle. We thank you once again for our brothers and sisters gathered, and we thank you for the message we're about to receive from John. I ask you fill him with spirit and bless us with this time. We are grateful, and with that, I say, aho. I'm going to read John's bio, and then I'm going to play a song that he has requested after that. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to our 35th of 52 lessons from our elders and wisdom keepers. Today, we're blessed with the teachings of John Pappan. John Pappan was born, grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, as member of the Umona Nation. The state of Nebraska means flat water or refers to Platte River. John has been involved with the Native community since 1979 as staff media specialist for the American Indian Center of Omaha. John is also involved with the Standing Bear Project, following in the footsteps of his relatives who were healers and spiritual leaders. John continues to deepen in learning of various tribal traditions, not only Omaha, but others along the Red Road. John has volunteered with my mother and father in various community groups, among them Native Parent Committee, Orphan AIDS, Cultural Club, Warrior Society, and Dream of Eagles. In 1989, John received a certificate in data processing and entrepreneurship from Southwest Indian Polytechnic Institute of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and May of 92 received associate's degree in business administration from the University of Davis, California. John has served as dorm advisor and student store manager. We thank you for that, John, and I'm going to share the second song now.
In the spring of 2009, something happened in northern Arizona. Was it merely just a gathering of ancient wisdom keepers from around the world? Or because it was at the request of a Mayan high priest, as part of the fulfillment of the Mayan prophecy? Was it something much greater? As we approach what the Mayans referred to as Year Zero, the ending of the Mayan calendar in 2012, their prophecy and prophecies from many cultures from around the world speak of a shifting of the ages, dramatic changes to our world and humanity, prophecies we are witnessing coming true today. One thing is certain. The return of the ancestors' gathering was truly historic. It required individual strength, courage, and the dedication from hundreds of individuals who knew the time was now to bring forth these messages to humanity to help light our path in the coming times. And so it is through this message we wish to offer our love and our gratitude to you for your gifts, your trust, your faith, and your determination. Thank you all.
Of the God of all creation. All is holy, all is one. Sacred earth, sacred sun, in the mystery of creation. All is one. In the golden thread in the goddess of creation. I am you, you are me, in the colors that we see, in the mystery of creation. Translucent, brilliant, perfect and white, rainbows of color through fractals of light. We are one. In the We are all connected by the central flame in the fire of all creation. Sacred fire. All is perfect, all is whole. Sacred thorn, sacred rose in the garden of creation. Sacred land. Let go, let go. Life is change, life is flow. Like the sunlight fades to shadow. Sacred fire. Let go, let go. Be the change, be the flow. Like the sunlight fades to shadow. We are all connected by the central flame in the fire of all creation. All is perfect, all is whole. Sacred thorn, sacred rose in the garden of creation. We are one. Sacred sound in the one. Sacred land. We are one. Sacred sound. We are connected. We are all connected. We are one. We are all connected.
All right, John, it's all yours.
Hello, everyone. This is John Pappan. And as we greet you in my language, which I'm still learning, was taken from us long time ago in the 1800s. But my dad was one of the last fluent speakers. And so, Amoho Amble, Ijaje Awiton. My mother is from the Thunder Clan and my father is from the Buffalo Clan. I also have blood from my father's side of the Pawnee, of the Skiddy, which is the wolf Pawnee. Thank you all for being here today. And I hope that you'll receive something today, some kind of word, some kind of feeling that you can take with you and share this, share whatever that you feel inspired to, because we're at a crucial time here on Mother Earth where we're going through a lot of changes, And so we need to be strong. Those you are that are listening today, you're all healers of some kind. You're wisdom keepers. You work in spirit and different ways for your family and your community. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So I honor that, and I say hello to each and every one of you. As my Lakotas say, brothers say, I want to shake your hand, So in that way, I, extend that greeting. That video that you saw, spirits called me to go to that meeting and that gathering. And I felt so strongly that I had to do that. And at that time, I was really, blessed with a lot of material means. So I flew out there. I had some friends that lived in Phoenix, rented out a car, and I drove up there. The thing is, though, I'd still slept in my car, as nice as it was. I had to sleep in my car because all the hotels were booked up. People from all over the world had come to this gathering. And one of the elders that I saw there was David Swallow. Him and his wife and his followers had come. And it was real good to see him because he's the one whose altar that we have, the lodge that my friend Bill runs. And a few of our people that attend lodge with us, they had been sun dancers at his Sundance, so in Pine Ridge. So it was good to see him. And then I saw a couple of other elders that I had recognized. But I've been blessed to be at these various different gatherings and to be able to sit and learn and listen to all the different elders. And myself, I'm open to any teaching from any culture. In my heart, we are one human family. And so I see everyone as connected. And I run into different circles of friends. And sometimes my circle of friends, I forget which one I'm in. And so I ask a friend, I said, well, do you remember that trip we took to so-and-so? And you remember that person? And they go, I never was there. I said, oh, wrong circle. Forget what I said. And because to me, we're all just one human family. We're all one. So I try not to look at so much as differences, but I do respect the diversity that we have because we're all unique. We're all special in that way. So one thing that I wanted to share with you, and this is an elder that I will be meeting in person. I'm not sure if he was here at the Return of the Ancestors Gathering in Arizona, but he's going to be there at Serpent Mound next month. He's Inca Quechua named Willura. And basically he's talking about the prophecy, the Inca prophecy. And many of you have heard of this. And it talks about when the eagle of the north and the condor of the south fly together, the earth will awaken. The eagles of the north cannot be free without the condors of the south. And the quetzal bird, not to forget the Mayans there in Central America. And he says, now it's happening. Now is the time, the Aquarian age, the era of light, age of awakening, the age of returning to natural ways. Our generation is here to help begin this age, to prepare through different schools to understand the messages of the heart, intuition, and nature. Native people speak with the earth. When consciousness awakens, we can fly high like the eagle or like the condor. Mother Nature, she is inside us. We are inside her. We are totally dependent on the earth, the sun, and the water. We belong to the evolution of nature in our physical bodies. But we have a spiritual body that comes from the sun, not the sun that you see with two eyes, but another sun that lies in the other dimension. A golden sun burning with the fire of spiritual light. The inner light of humans emanates from this spiritual source. We came to earth from this sun to have experiences on earth, and eventually we'll return to this sun. We are the children of the sun. I've had a, lifetime in South America, at least two that I'm aware of. So I've always been this attraction or that magnetic pull. And the one place that I believe is like the beginning point for our people is Lake Titicaca, which is between what is called Peru and Bolivia. And at the bottom of that lake, there is the temple of the sun and the temple of the moon. This was the ancient civilization that our people came from. Now, the people say that there was a migration from Atlantis and also from Lemuria, and they all came here to the Americas. Myself, I believe that our people, the Siouan and the Gigaha, which is 5 tribes, came from South America. and that eventually we wandered and traveled up to this way to where we're at now. At one time, our people traded back and forth, and we traveled and traded north to south and south to north until the invasion, in a time when Cortez, Pizarro, and Columbus came. And then we went through a very hard time. And this was prophesied, of course, the Hopi. If some of you are aware of the Hopi prophecies about the time of the coming of the men who move like the turtle, which was the Spanish conquistadors in their metal suits. So that time has came, and so our people were scattered. A lot of nations were just killed outright, genocide, and whole nations disappeared from the earth. But for the most part, the people in South America, many of them were so far away, hid up in the mountains or in remote areas, very similar to the Seminoles, that they didn't bother with them that much. And so their numbers are quite large. And the Mayans, especially, their numbers are very large. And so they're still a threat to the colonizers and those who are, part of that material thing. But through all this time, the Native people have continued on the language, the ceremonies, the traditions, and to pass this on. And many times there was this break where the son or daughter would not carry this on for whatever reason. And so it skipped to maybe another cousin or another relative. And then spirit works in many ways. And so there may have been a non-tribal member or even a non-native person that spirit says, okay, you are called to carry this forward. You're called to learn this way. And myself, I've known that spirit will work with whomever has that good heart, that pure heart. It's not about how much Indian blood you have. It's about what your heart's all about. That's what it's all about. So spirit would use them person and guide them and teach them in this way. And so when I see the Europeans, they come here in a good way and they Sundance. I honor that. That's a very, very, how you say it, sacrifice for the Sundancers to do what they do. But it's so necessary and it's so beautiful and powerful what they do. I saw my first Sundance when I was about 27. And I had heard the story about the Sundance from Chief Leonard Crow Dog. He would come down here to Omaha from time to time. And at the time, I was going to college here at the local university. And so he proceeded to tell us and explain to us the meaning of the Sundance and what that meant. And I was finding myself paying close attention, because when he talked, you had to learn which meaning of that particular word he was referring to, because his first language was Lakota. His parents, his grandparents hid him from the authorities. So he was not corrupted or polluted or brainwashed with English in this European schooling. He was kept from that, and he was taught Lakota in all the languages. He was kept pure in that sense. And so he learned all these traditions in this way, and he carried it forward. So English was his second language. I remember he came one time and, Omaha's kind of a big city, so he needed a guide so he wouldn't get lost. And he asked me to, help him in that way. I remember talking to him and him saying about Carlos Castaneda in the books, anybody's is familiar with them. He was saying, yeah, this guy, he's right on. He's pretty good. He's talked like in 60s. That's when he started learning English. So he said groovy and all that stuff, which kind of made me chuckle because nobody talks that way, at least, that's still alive. But he was the one that taught us about the Sundance. And so because English is his second language, I had to listen. So the word that he would use, I said, okay, was that the more, okay, you English scholars out there, the first connotative or denoted meaning, you had to go down that list and find out which one he was referring to. So it made you really listen and it made you think because you had to really listen very carefully to what he was saying. So at the age of 27, he was Sundance chief down there among the Navajo, or Diné, as they call themselves. And this was a time when the Navajo grandmothers, Diné elders, decided to stay in an area that they wanted to mine for coal. It was called Big Mountain. And they weren't going to move. If you guys got some grandmothers, and some of you are grandmothers, you know how stubborn you can be and how strong they are, in that way. They're not going to move. They said, this is where we've always lived and we will stay. And so they told the government, well, you can pass any kind of law there in DC, but we're not moving. So they decided to ask for a Sundance and they invited a lot of different tribes. There was over 60 tribes that were dancing at that time. It was the first time I had seen a Sundance because I had, never attended before that time. And lo and behold, there he was. Leonard Crow Dog was the Sundance chief. And I'm sitting there as one of the, standing there as one of the supporters. And he comes right to the edge of the Sundance Arbor circle. And he looks at me, he says, that which I have told you before, you shall see here today. So all that teaching of the Sundance, so it was like yesterday, he had remembered. And he did that on a number of occasions because Spirit was always with him. And it was like he picked up from where he last talked to me. And that happened in a number of occasions. And it's all that power of that Sundance. And it really, I really marveled at that. I wanted to share some information regards to that. The Sundance is like the highest ceremony that we do during the year. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend one this year. I had been meaning to, there was like 3 of them that I wanted to attend. So I just sent word to my friends that were going. I said, please offer tobacco for me. You'll find out if you get to know me that I love to travel. I love to meet people. And so that's one of the things that I like to do. One of the teachings, and this is from the Lakota Star Knowledge by Ronald Goodman. And this is taught at Shinte Galeshke, which is Spotted Tail College in Rosebud, South Dakota. The meaning of the shape of the teepee is a teaching about the Sundance and the meaning of the shapes of the teepee. Mr. Norbert Running from the Rosebud gives this account. When they build the teepee, those 3 poles come first. The 3-pole triangle is a star. That's the most important thing, that star. Then 7 more poles, that's the directions. West, north, east, south, above and below, and center. The fire at the center. That makes 10 poles. Those 10 are the laws of the whole world. And for the Lakota people, the two more poles outside, those are the ears for air that makes 12. That's 12 months. And once a year, the people get together to pray at Sundance. The teepee is about the Sundance too. Dancers make a teepee with their dancing, their sacrifice, and their prayers around the holy tree. Then there are 12 stars, morning star, evening star, 7 stars in the dipper, and those 3 stars, Orion's belt. That makes 12 too. 12 stars, 12 months, and 12 poles. On the outset of the teepee means building a star with the first 3 poles. The foundation of the world is a star. The true inner shape of the world is a crystal of light, a vortex of powerful light. Dancing around the holy tree, which is the tree of life, sacrificing in prayer. The sun dancers create a vortex of power with its apex pointed up. They create the teepee of praise. So it's like from the ground here, the circle of dancers, they're creating this cone, this teepee that points up. So they create this on the prayer of the Sundance ground with the songs, with the ceremony, and with their dancing and with their prayers. But above us, above them is the sun is above them. And that's a vortex of light. And from the sun, there's another cone, but it's pointing downward. So you have the cone pointing downward. Now, for your Wiccans out there, they call it the cone of power. So some of you are aware of that. And so that cone from the sun comes down and they meet together in the center. That center where the 2 cones meet is the tree of life. There's a sacred tree. And so you have the coming together of the earth and the sun dancers from the earth here on earth, and the light energies from spirit and from the sun coming together into that tree of life. I had a good Heyoka sun dancer friend of mine who invited us to his Sundance. Dr. Doc William Martin. Some of you may have known him. He is a Baha'i like I am, and I'll explain that a little later. And he invited us to that Sundance. And in that third round, that third day, he brought us in. There was 3 of us. So we came into the center to receive a healing. And as we got into the center and we were able to pray at the tree of life there in the center, you could feel that tree. It was imbued with power, with the spiritual energy of the prayers from above and below. And so one of my friends, she received a very powerful healing. She had just lost her dad, and so she was processing that. And you could tell that, she was going through that healing there. But that was so powerful. And so when you're going to a Sundance, remember that time to when they do open that up. And not all of them are different, but at some point in time, they'll open it up, and those who wish to receive healing for themselves or for another is a proxy. Then they let you into the arbor, and you go and you pray there at that tree. And you offer your prayers, your heart, and that tobacco. And it's going to be that way for whoever you're praying for. It's a very powerful time. And for some reason, I wasn't able to do that this year. So, but this is the things, this is from the Lakota star knowledge, which there was a gathering in Missouri, and it was of Native people and Baha'i people that were coming together. And they were creating this dialogue, this exchange, and to get to know each other. And it was a place where Native people could be open to share and exchange the information. And at that time, there was an elder. He was a very good artist. His artwork began to be noticed in Europe. That was Mr. Zephyr, who was the father of many children. And one of them was Isaiah or Izzy and Daryl and Lauren Zephyr, AKA Chief Golden Light Eagle, okay? And because of the reception from my sister who's adopted, my adopted sister, Linwood Sonar, she's from the Hawaiian Islands, so she's my sister. And her husband, Billy, he's from Indiana. And they both adopted me as their brother. And because of that, I have that connection. And the Zephyr brothers, Daryl, Izzy, were so impressed with the love and the care that Lynn and the others at this gathering had poured upon their father, who was in a wheelchair at the end. He has such a good sense of humor, and he's a very talented artist. They were so impressed with the amount of honor, respect, and love that everyone showed that they adopted us as their Hunka family. And for whatever reason, I wasn't able to attend the adoption ceremony in person in Yankton, South Dakota. So I missed out on that. And I always felt bad about that. But I always try to keep and honor that relationship. And so I would go to their Sundance there at Pipestone or at Greengrass. And it's very powerful. There's a connection there that goes way back because it's all about the ancestors and the tribes, the Yankton and the Omaha, and of course now the Pawnee too. But that relationship was very important, and they wanted to continue that, and that was why part of that was why the adoption happened. And so that time that Lauren had started the Star Knowledge conferences was back in 1996. Some of you may have been aware of that, and some of you may have gone to these Star Knowledge conferences. I started attending them and listening and talking to some of the speakers. I had known about the sky relatives. I had seen different ships and had my own experiences at the age 25. Okay, I guess that would be the way to start with this message. Okay. On our reservation homeland in Nebraska, there was a group of Omaha elders that were meeting. And they were talking about the Bible and about prophecy. And they met in the house, Daisy and Frank Tyndall was the name of the elders. And some of my Omaha relatives who are listening today, you might be a descendant of one of these elders. They were trying to understand what that prophecy was about, the second coming and these other different prophecies. And so they were regularly meeting and discussing these things. And then a lady from Chicago had come, and she came first to the Winnebago. And Mary Bear, I believe, I'm not sure if she was Winnebago or Omaha, but I think she was Winnebago, was the first one that met her. And this lady was a descendant of the LaFleche family. And any of my relatives there, you know that the LaFleches are a descendant of Iron Eyes. Iron Eyes was one of the last Omaha chiefs. So when the Omaha people had found out that she was descendant of this bloodline, they opened her, they welcomed her with open arms because they honored that lineage, because she came from a chief. And so she found her way to this Bible study on prophecy. And she had a message to share with them. And that message was the news, the sharing of the prophecies being fulfilled. And so this lady had shared with them about the Baha'i prophecies. And they began to discuss this, and they talked and they prayed and they meditated. And after all said and done, the spirit moved, and 13 of them, Omaha tribal people, one of them was my grandmother, Madeline Lovejoy. They all decided to declare their belief in Baha'u'llah, which means the glory of God. And he fulfilled the prophecies of the return. And so all 13. So 13 to me is a sacred number. And some of you that are into the numbers thing, they know about this, We all know that there's 13 moons, So all of that, about the teachings about that number. So that was a recent tradition. They declared in October 1947. And I just recently found the photograph of my grandmother there when she attended the National Convention of the Baha'is in 1960, the same year that I was born. I was born on April 14th of 1960. Later that month, when I was probably two weeks old or so, she attended the Baha'i National Convention. And I just found the photograph of that. So there was that connection. And when I had found and I heard about this message at the age of 23, I started researching. I asked the questions. What is this Baha'i faith? And why did my grandmother become part of that? And after reading and asking all the questions, and then I finally prayed. So I'm there on the Diné or the Navajo reservation one summer. And I had just finished all the reading about the history of the Baha'is. So I said, well, that's all done. Now all I have to do is do the prayer. So early in the morning, just before even the birds were awake, I went out. I didn't think about it, I'm not from the desert, so there could have been Gila monsters, scorpions, and poisonous snakes out there, but that wasn't my concern. So I went out there, made an altar, and I offered up the prayer, and I said, I want a sign, some kind of about this 9-pointed star way. What is it all about? And then I heard the voice of my grandmother says, it's a good way. That's all I needed to hear. And I said, okay. So I made up my mind I was going to join the Baha'i faith and declare my belief in Baha'u'llah. When I did that following morning on 18th of August, the experience that I had, I could only compare it to the time when Jesus and John the Baptist were together at the River Jordan. And when John the Baptist saw Jesus, he said, of course, he humbled himself and he said, no, I need to be baptized by you. But Jesus said, no, let it be. That has been prophesied. And so he told them that he had to baptize him. And so that experience that's in the Bible and written, when John baptized Jesus into the water, Jordan, and when he came out of the water, and the dove, the Holy Spirit, like a dove, came down with the light rays. That's what I felt, what they call the baptism of fire of the Spirit. That's what I felt when I declared my belief in Baha'u'llah. It was so powerful. Not only did tears flow from me, but those around me. And there was two young people, about 15, 16. They were just overcome because they could feel the energy of that power. That's the only way that I can describe what happened to me. Of course, words cannot describe that. And some of you know this. You've experienced something very similar. So from that time forward, I began to learn and deepen in this new path. But the thing is, the Baha'is say, they honor, say, keep that mother tongue that you have. And they honor and they respect the culture. They didn't try to change me. They honored that. Not unlike some other groups that they want you to assimilate. They want you to become white middle class. That's not me. That's not who I am. The Mormons tried to do that to me, but I said, no, that's not who I am. And so I followed this path. And from that time on, I was traveling. I was visiting different tribal communities, and I was connecting to the spiritual teachings, the ceremonies of all the different tribes that I had come across. And I start to see the common things, like the sacred fire. Like, for instance, when I was going to school in DQU, which means the Ganawitha Quetzalcoatl University, there was a Nahuatl or Aztec elder that come to explain about the calendar stone. And as he was explaining to us what them different symbols on that calendar stone meant, he mentioned grandfather fire. And it just clicked in me. I know what he's talking about, because we have them teachings about grandfather fire. Fire is a metaphor for spirit. Water is a metaphor for spirit. So when they were talking about grandfather fire, I knew what he was talking about, and I just really marveled at that. So they have that same teaching. And so I saw that commonality of the things that bind us together as indigenous people of the earth. The honoring of the four directions. Another commonality. Sacred seven. Some say that refers to the Pleiades. On and on. The seven chakras. So learning all these things and experiencing, I always had my ears open. And all these different gatherings that were guided to or come upon, I always listened. And I gathered these teachings in my heart and I compared them. And more and more, I saw how common we were, how we had things in common. And so I began to have a better understanding. And those things that I experienced in the different ceremonies, some of it is still there being processed. It's not to the surface of my mind, but it's there. I know it because sometimes, like for instance, when I speak or I'm in a gathering, sometimes some of that'll come out almost like out of nowhere or from the ether, as they say, spirit talking. So them that knowledge, that's been accumulated. When the time is right, then it comes forth. So I try to follow that. I try to follow the spirit as it guides. And this is the one thing, a lot of people talk about Holy Spirit or the spirits. We can agree on that. I have a very good friend, Sister Andrea, who comes from the heart, and we talk Holy Spirit. We don't talk about doctrine and stuff like that, because once we do, then that's what's going to pull us apart. So we talk about the common things that we believe in, and I think that's a universal thing, spirit and love. That's universal. People all understand that. So when you come from that, you're fine and you're in agreement. It's when you wander away from that, then that's when the differences start. So I try to remember that wherever I'm at, to be mindful of that and to honor people. Every one of us is a son and daughter of the Creator. And we should respect and honor each and every one of us that way. We're brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, grandmas and grandpas, nieces and nephews, We're all related. And that's what we're called to do now, to come together as one human family. This is very much in teaching. The Baha'is have been saying this, the oneness of mankind. And its original teachings of our people. I had asked my dad one time, because I was asking him about the Native American church. And for those who don't know, that's the ceremonial use of Father Peyote. And there's a spirit in that plant that come from Mexico originally. And our people, the Omahas, had adopted that. I asked my dad, why are we part of Native American church? Don't we have our own teachings? And he's told me, he said, the elders at that time saw that many things were being lost or not kept. And so what they decided to do, they saw that this new way, Native American church with the water drum, that it was becoming stronger and growing. And so what the elders decided to do was put the Omaha teachings into this circle, into this altar, Native American church. And so they transmitted and start teaching all the Omaha spiritual ways. So that would be preserved here in this Native American church. So that's how we have it today now, because the Native American church is still here. And it's spread through a lot of different Native nations. So there was the preservation of a lot of the Omaha teachings. And when I heard that, then I understood. And I was really glad that I had become part of that. When I was 12, I went to my first Native American church meeting with my dad. Went in at midnight. And those who are aware of that, the ceremony goes from sunset to sunrise. And all through the night, they're offering prayers. They're offering songs of worship. And once in a while, we might roll around there, but the thing is that it's always that prayer and then prayer song that's happening. And yes, we have the sacred fire there. And then that medicine, the spirit of Father Peyote is a real thing. My uncle, who was a roadman, he would say, Father Peyote is a very good teacher and also healer. And I saw that because at one time I had gone through a hard time And I needed that healing. And my other roadman, Uncle Joe, helped me in that way. And he drove off an evil spirit at that time. And so I know that the spirit of Father Peyote is real, that it's a medicine. It's not no drug. It's a medicine. And as soon as the world recognizes that, and it's all about ceremony and proper use of the plant. My own brother, and I'm not going to say his name, but my own brother come to me one time and say, "Hey man, I got some peyote buttons, you know." Oh, I was just shocked. And then I scolded him too. I said, "Hey, don't treat it like that." I said, "No, that's not the way it is. If you want to learn about this medicine, you go to the meeting and you learn about it. But don't be doing it like this. This is disrespectful." So that was one thing that, a lot of the native spirituality and religion were outlawed for a long time until 1978, when it became legal for us to have ceremony and worship like we do. So it's been a long time, these things, and they're starting to be shared. This is the time the spirits are saying we need to share these teachings. And that's what we're doing. And many of the elders have been saying this, that we need to share. But also, just like Jesus said, you don't cast your pearls before swine. So you don't just give them to anybody. No, it's those who are receptive, those who demonstrate their sincerity, those who have that, who do that sacrifice. Because when people come around to the different tribes, they want to learn this. Okay, well, chop wood, carry water. And then if you can stand the teasing, because they're going to test you. Are you sincere? Do you really want to learn? And if you pass all the teasing and you're strong and you're sincere, then yeah, you're going to be allowed to come into the tribal circle. There's this full-blooded German guy, straight from Germany. He still speaks German too. He worked for IBM. He come here, he's fascinated with Native people. He wanted to dance. So he befriended my uncle Morgan Lovejoy. He learned the language. He learned the teachings. He sat down and spent many hours with my uncle. And then he started dancing. And then he started supporting the different groups and the families. He showed that he knew about the Omaha way. And so he was adopted by my uncle, among the people. There was this Irishman from Boston, John Mangnan. He come clear from Boston and he came here. He taught band, as a band instructor here at the tribal school in Macy, Nebraska. And boy, he just had a heart for them children, because a lot of them, they were going through hard times. And some of you who are teachers that, teach kids, you're not just a teacher, but you're a social worker, you're a mom or dad or uncle, auntie, something. And so he took that role and he started working with the youth and encouraging them. He tried to go back a couple of times to Boston. He had families and relatives, but it never seemed the same. So he permanently moved out here to Nebraska. And once again, he was taken in and adopted by an Omaha family and given an Omaha name. He just recently passed here. But I wanted to share that memory of this man who had so much love for the children and loved our people, that he was accepted. Now that has happened to different areas, different tribes. So one of the things that I wanted to share. Now, don't fall asleep, or maybe you'll get it better that way if you do. But I know, yes, it's a long one. But what I did was I could, there actually this account of this gathering in Fairbanks, Alaska, which was about 1986. Some of you have seen the video because it's been all over the place. Another Baha'i Cherokee named Lee Brown. I compiled all 10 pages that originally were, and I cut it down to 2 pages because I wanted to get the essence of what he was talking about, but Cliff Notes version. So this is not the complete thing. If you want to study more, we could probably get that link to you. But this is only 2 pages, so don't fall asleep, or maybe that's how you guys process. I don't know. Maybe some people do that way. Okay, so this is from the Continental Indigenous Council, 1986, Lee Brown in Fairbanks, Alaska. This is his talk. There was the cycle of the mineral, the rock, the plant, and now we're in the cycle of the animal, coming to the end in the beginning of the cycle of the human being. This cycle of the human being will see the highest and greatest powers released from the light or soul that we carry to the mind. At the beginning of this cycle of time, long ago, the Great Spirit came down and gathered the peoples of the earth together, they say, on an island now below the sea. He said, I'm going to send you to the 4 directions, and over time, I'm going to change you all into 4 colors. I will give you what is now called the original teachings. And over time, and when you come back together, you will share these teachings so that you can live in peace on earth and a great civilization will come into being. He said further, during the cycle of time, I'm going to give each race 2 stone tablets. When I give these stone tablets, do not cast them upon the ground. And if anyone does, the human beings will have a hard time on the earth. The earth itself will almost die. The Indian Red people were given the guardianship of the earth. We were to learn the teachings of the earth, the food, the herbs, the plants, etc. The yellow race was given the guardianship of the wind. They were to learn about the sky and breathing for spiritual advancement. The black race was given the guardianship of the water, the chief of the elements, being most humble, yet powerful. The white race was given the guardianship of the fire. They say the light bulb is the white man's fire. The fire consumes and moves, so it was the white race that would reunite us as a human family. The Hopi people hold the sacred stone tablets of the Red people in the third mesa, an area known as Arizona. The Black people have their tablets kept by the Kikuyu tribe at the foot of Mount Kenya in Africa. Just as a side note, the Baha'is had just dedicated a Baha'i temple there in Kenya. The yellow people have their tablets kept by the Tibetans in the Himalayas, and the keepers of the tablets for the Europeans are the Swiss. Some of the Swiss know their family colors and masks. Each of these people happen to live in the mountains. In 1976, from the West Coast, San Francisco, to the East Coast, Washington, D.C., Native people carried a sacred pipe bundle by hand on foot. Some people who threw rocks at the bundle were amazed that it could not be touched. A white-haired elder man carried it through a snowstorm over the Rockies. His hair froze. They say that the powers would start to come back once this walk was done. A spiritual fire was said to begin in the north and go down the Puget Sound and go inland. The elder said, "This is it, the gathering in the north to light this fire." We were given the sacred handshake as a sign we remembered the original teachings. The Hopi have a prophecy that some humans would come like turtles across the land. The Spaniards in their armored clothing was seen coming. They greeted him, extending their hand, but instead of the handshake of the conquistador, dropped a trinket into their hand. Word spread throughout North America that there was going to be a hard time. Maybe the relatives have forgotten the original teachings. The Native people began to send many on vision quests to find out how we could survive this time. There were at one time 10,000, 100,000 cities of Native people. The mound builders have left traces in the Ohio and Mississippi valleys. Around 1920, the elders gathered in Arizona. They heard that there was to be a League of Nations formed, so they wrote a letter to President Woodrow Wilson, asked to be included. The U.S. Supreme Court held that the reservations were separate yet semi-sovereign nations, not part of the U.S., but protected by it. American leaders were concerned about the natives having their own nations, so they never wrote back. The elders knew that peace would not come upon earth until all in the circle of humanity shared their teachings and were included. The Hopi have prophecies of the both World One and Two, but he wasn't sharing that at the time. Now, after the second shaking of the earth, the elders saw the building of the House of Micah on the East Coast in New York City. So they talked about how the letter in 1920 was not responded to. And so they decided to knock on the door of the United Nations. And they said, "We represent the indigenous people of North America, and we wish to address the nations of the earth. We are going to give you 4 days to consider whether or not we will be allowed to speak." They retreated to the Iroquois or Six Nation reserves in New York State. The Six Nation Confederacy told the great law of peace given by the prophet Daganowitha. This law is recited every year from sunrise to noon by memory, which takes 4 days. The nations of the earth wanted to hear what the indigenous people had to say, but the United States vetoed it, fearing the native sovereignty was growing stronger. The elders discussed the sending of speakers to the U.S. into the 4 regions in holding the right roots of peace gatherings. These began in 1950. They said that in your lifetime, you will see them find the blueprint that makes us, the DNA and genetic science. Many of the tribes will be sleeping, meaning they have lost their teachings, saying they are frozen. They have been through a long, hard winter. Some tribes say you're going to see a time when the eagle will fly in highest in the night and will land on the moon. In 1969, Apollo sent back the message, the eagle has landed. The native people heard this and knew that this was start of the new time, the power for the red peoples. There was nothing strong before us now. When the US printed the dollar bill, you notice that the eagle claw holds an olive branch. This, according to the elders in the Dakotas, represents the enslavement of Black people. The other claw holds 13 arrows, which represents the enslavement of Native peoples. The US Mint made a special silver coin to commemorate the landing on the moon at the last minute. the design was changed. The eagle only had the olive branch. The arrows were gone. The elder said, "We have been released." At this time, things will start to speed up, but you must slow down, the elders advised. The shaking of the earth a third time may happen. World War III, the spirits will warn you twice, but the third time you stand alone. When there is a house in the sky, the Great Spirit is going to shake the earth a third time. Whoever dropped the gourd of ashes, atomic bombs upon them, it is going to be dropped. This hard time, none are protected. As the Baha'i writings say, but some will survive it. After this calamity, there is going to be another attempt to make the circle of humanity. This time, the native people will not have to be petitioned to join, but will be invited to enter this circle. The sharing of all our teachings as humankind will come together to bring a great civilization. If we could stop racial, religious disharmony, we would not have to go through this third shaking. The Hopis say that a religion will come here, maybe bring unity, but if it did not, a second one would come. The people of the Baha or Bahani. Ni means people of Baha. Baha means light or glory. Baha'i means follower of the light. We have been waiting for these people a long time. The elders say they will bring a teaching that will unite the earth. Here we are in the north talking about the Bahani and the teachings of Baha'u'llah. Each of us carries a sacred drop of blue light, which in time will radiate to the mind and will open up the radiance to our own being and of our own soul, the cycle of the beginning of the human being. Something so good is going to happen on the earth. And now it is us. We are the ones the elders spoke of long ago. They say to be alive, to come into creation, and to live upon the earth at this time is a great honor. When the 16 great ones speak on the West Coast, the purification will have begun. In 1980, Mount St. Helens erupted, and the earth will rise up and purify itself, they say. The elder advised to make a place for yourself in the mountains because the air here would become too hot. Now, I remember my uncle Joe Dick, who some of my Omaha relatives remember. He talked about this time. He said the elders were talking about this. And then my brother, Robert Big Elk, he also talked about this. Robert Stabler was born in Lincoln, but he was asked by a descendant of Big Elk to carry that name. And so he carried Robert Big Elk as his name. That was one of the last chief of the Omaha. So Robert Big Elk spoke of a time when things would be too hot. My uncle spoke of that as well. And at first, Big Elk or Robert thought he meant temperature hot. But no, he meant anger hot, as in violence. So basically, he was saying that the cities would erupt in violence. Now, we are living in that time, and you can see it out there now. I think that COVID was just the beginning of this process of the shaking that's going on. It's not with nuclear bombs, people, but make no mistake, we are in World War III. We are in a worldwide struggle right now between the light and the dark. Some of you know this, some of you understand this. And more importantly than ever, you must stand in the light, stand in the truth, and stand in the love. Hold fast to the prayer and meditation and your spiritual knowledge and the teachings that you carry. We need to be strong for this time that we're living in now, especially. And right now, you look all over. You can see them Chicken Littles. Oh, the sky is falling. Oh my God, the sky is falling. Well, yeah, it's the ending of the world. It's the end of the world. But I feel fine myself, you know, because you live in spirit, because you listen to spirit, and you walk this red path, this red road. Spirit will guide you to do what you need to do. We need to heal ourselves. We need to be strong in this way. And then when you're strong, share and heal others. We are to be the ones to help all the Chicken Littles out there, okay? That may be your friends, maybe your relatives, maybe what they call strangers, but they're just, family you haven't met really. And once you make that connection, and right now, I think a lot of our soul family, our spirit, our soul families are coming together. You know, them people you meet for the first time and you have an instant rapport and connection. And it's like, wow, do I know you from somewhere? Haven't I seen you something? No, that was another lifetime. So our soul families are coming together. What does that tell you? Because that tells you that the time is here, that we need to lean on our soul family, because these are real hard times. This is hard for me to say, but our blood families, some of them are not going to make it. Each one of us have free will. Each one of us decide which path that we're going to follow. Some people have not awakened. And maybe, they're not going to be with us to the next earth or the next dimension. That's a hard thing, I know. When I first heard about this, I mourned all them people that we were going to lose. And I mourned them, I grieved for them. But I said, well, there's a lot of people here that are suffering through what's happening. And they need relief. They need to be released. So now I let go of that grieving. And I said, let's go forward. We have to go forward. Because there's so many people who are waiting for the change. A few of them are there already. And we're getting a lot of help from the other side. The angel, the spirits, the ascended masters, whatever you want to call them. We're getting help. So, it's just going to be a short time. Hopefully it's only going to be a few months or a few years. It all depends on mankind decision, how our brothers and sisters out there, what decision they make, whether they're going to find the spiritual path and follow it, or they're just going to pretend, put their head in the sand like the ostrich, say, oh, I don't see nothing. It's not happening. Well, that's their own free will. That's their choice. So it's that time. We need to be strong. I know a lot of you have gone through stuff. Myself, I'm kind of going through some stuff, but I lost my mother 5 years ago, and my dad, it's almost going 10 months now. And so that grieving process, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. And you don't cry just one time. You cry whenever, Hopefully it's not in front of everybody, but boy, I tell you, sometimes you get them hugs and people will say, oh, it's okay. Other times they look at you like, man, you're weird. But uh it's such a beautiful time though to be living though. There is so much out there. We take everything for granted. Be centered in the earth. Take them nature walks. Be around good people that make you laugh and smile. Listen to some beautiful music. Go by the stream. Connect to mother. That's where you get your strength from. Find that special person or relative or friend that you can relate to and have them good old down to earth talks to. This is what we need to do because we need to keep ourselves awake, aware, and nourished spiritually as well as physically. Because these are tough times, people. You all know that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You all know this. A lot of stuff I already know that. I know you do. That's great. The thing is, we got to start sharing that with everyone. Oh, not everyone. Let me preface that again. With those who are open to receive it, those who are ready. I mean, when Spirit tells me, nudges me to talk to that person or that person, I do it. And sometimes Spirit says, hey, that person needs a hug. Okay, so I give them a hug. They don't see it coming, but I give it to them anyway, because that's what they need. And some of them are too shy or whatever to ask, So sometimes it takes Spirit to be able to do that. And then it starts them on their path of healing. So sometimes, and the thing is, though, so far, Spirit hasn't asked me to do too outrageous stuff, but, who knows, So I just wanted to say thank you, each and every one of you. And I just wanted to open up to questions. I mean, there's a lot more other stuff I could talk to you about, but I would like to hear questions or sharing from each and every one of you, because that's what it's all about. It's about all of us. It's about sitting in a circle where no one is above the other or below the other. It's about sharing and equal. So anybody have a question or comment? Go ahead, Susan. I see you. Anyone. Don't be shy. Come on. I used to be real shy.
Susan, you're
tell you.
muted.
Oh, am I?
I think Susan's trying to unmute. Are you, Susan?
Yes, I'm trying. Rodney, can you unmute me? Okay, can you guys hear me now? I do have a comment. I've been thinking about this all the time you've been talking about. I cannot believe the vast breadth of everything that you have covered in this hour and a half. I am so impressed. Holly, I saw your comment. I saw what you said about peyote. I mean, everything that you covered, John, is just vast in terms of time, vast in terms of paradigms, vast in terms of belief systems. But I want to be really take it to my own gratitude to you, because as you know, I'm sure I'm adopted, and I didn't even have any real information on my mother till I was in my 60s. But I found out 20 years ago that my mother had lived at Rosebud for quite some time, and that my mother carried with her after that experience a teepee wherever she went, and she would set it up in whatever home she lived in, and the only ones allowed in her teepee were herself and her dog, who was like my bear dog. And when I went to Sundance the first time, I knew that ceremony. I understood it. And now, because of what you said today, you wove that together for me, and you gave me a huge feather of understanding for my relationship with my mother. And I personally am grateful. And I would venture to say that everyone here has received some portion of reality and truth to their own their being. And I thank you, John. You already know I love you, and I'm so grateful to you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a question over here, Rodney. What's your question?
Angel. Ronnie?
Yeah.
Ronnie, you hear about the mistake that people could be making by electing, I don't want to get in politics, but an attractive figure, confusion for the fusion of some uncomfortable events that could be happen after death by the judgment of the supreme creator of the universe.
Can you reword that? You think you got that, John?
Go ahead, Andy. Why don't you translate that for us?
I didn't understand it either. Can you
Yeah, repeat that.
There was an election in America. The land that is my land now. And people get attracted by temptation of images that could be confuse people and making the wrong choice for what Americans really need for this time. And there was a chairman from India that have been predicting the most important events recently happening in this planet. He was warning people about the people emotion on controlling by by the media, and this person was predicted everything that's happening right now in America. So, what do you think about the future of American connected with what you were saying about the prophecies that you were talking about? That's my question.
Okay. So basically, the question was about what is America's future in terms of what the prophecies were talking about. So basically, there is a reason why America was chosen as the gathering of many cultures. America is to show the world what it is to gather people together, a unity and diversity, where you have not a melting pot. I don't believe in that. No. It's creating this beautiful, big, huge salad. We have all these different colored fruits and vegetables, cranberries, raisins, what have you. But they're all different and distinct and beautiful in their own right. But they come together in this beautiful salad, and it all works. See, and that's what we need to do, is respect each other. And let me tell you, and I think that you understand this, my good brother Angel, there needs to be acknowledgement of what America has done. There needs to be knowledge of the true history of this country and of this hemisphere. We cannot pretend like the ostrich and pretend that the genocide and the Holocaust that happened in this Western hemisphere did not happen. It did happen. And many of my people are still angry. And when sometimes them spirits will come through, and I'm not like that, okay? I don't like to be angry, but the spirit tells me, say, hey, you got to say this. And I say, okay. But there needs to be the understanding That's why America is being shooken up. That's why America is being spanked big time. Because we need to acknowledge this, that America, like a little kid, was naughty, that they're going to get their spanking, okay? But they need to understand it. Just like when we were kids. Yeah, I did wrong. I'm sorry. I did that. When I stole silver quarters from my mom, oh my God. And then I saw how she was mean to my brothers trying to get that back. And she knew all along, okay? But she waited for me to come out with it and confess that I took them quarters. And I did, and I returned them. Oh, I was so ashamed. I was so hurt. I didn't want to get whooped, but I did. So in that way, America's got to do the same thing. Fess up and acknowledge the genocide and all the wrongdoing. And then apologize to all the people that they hurt. And then we can start that process of healing, of a true reconciliation. That's the only way we're going to build true unity, is when we get that all aired out. Because we can't be a human family unless we acknowledge all the stuff. You all know that in your own families. Families work differently. But my understanding is that you gotta have that family meeting and get that all aired out. Oh yeah, it could be ugly. But the thing is that you go through it, that you do it. And that's what America needs to do. And a lot of people, they're going to still kind of fight it or try to deny it. But you can't. You got to fess up. You just got to be truthful. And that's definitely part of that. So we need to acknowledge that. And that's what we've been waiting on. It happened once here, okay, in Nebraska. There was this like I said before, this beautiful lady, Andrea. She was coming from her heart. She wanted to do healing process. She had 3 pastors or ministers come together, and they had a beautiful service. They had a giveaway. She had done her research, and it was just me and this one Winnebago gal. We were the only 2 natives there. We tried to reach out and invite others, but we were the only 2. And that group of about 20 Christians wanted to apologize to us. Now, Andrea came from her heart in a good way, but there were a lot of them Christians. Oh, we did bad to you. We were bad to you. We did a lot of bad things to you. And we want to apologize. But they were doing it out of fear because they didn't want the retribution, of God, coming down, raining down on them. So, okay, well, at least you came here, you're doing it for whatever reason, but hopefully coming out of love was actually preferable, but that was where they were at. So, but yeah, this needs to happen more and more too. So you need to share that, each and every one of you. You need to share that. We can't be in denial about the past. We need to acknowledge it, and we need to be truthful about it so we can grow together. So this time of reconciliation can truly happen. Anyone else would like a comment or question? How much time we got, Rod?
We're actually 4 minutes over, John.
Oh, okay. Woo, boy, this is a long one. Okay. Well, I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope to see you guys in different gatherings and whatnot, and see you in person. So thank you. Wiblahan, Palamia.
Susan?
Okay, thank you. Just to throw this out about the what John has just closed with, which was just so profound. When the Iroquois gave the teachings of the peacemaker to Benjamin Franklin that later became the Constitution, I've heard many times it said that the elders of Israel will save the Constitution when it's hanging by a thread. And when I went to Standing Rock and I stood up on the hill and I looked down over the valley at all the teepees and all the tents and all the people and the flags from so many different tribes, I heard clearly, without any doubt, that these are the elders of Israel. And it will be in the hands of our native people to bring us back to the center. And I'm grateful, John, as I said, for everything that you said and for all the sharings and the teachings that you gave. And so as we stand here now and close with prayer, we're on the banks of the Mississippi River, the main artery of Turtle Island. Grandfather, Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, Creator Gods, as we now come to the closing of another wonderful teaching, we are so thankful for the truth as it appears to us when we need it most. And as we're moving forward into 2021, as we knew, and with each week come new challenges, come new opportunities, come new stumbling blocks. With each week, we grow stronger, even after we may have experienced pain. Please be with us, Creator God. Help us. Help us to be able to be mindful of the waters of the world, the trees, the birds, the animals, each other. Help us, please, to remember that we are never alone because we are created in your image and we are all family. And yes, some will move faster, some will move slower. But in the very end of all things and all time, when it's finally over and we sit down together at the original fire as we did so many, many eons ago, we will look across the flames and recognize each other, and there will be love. Ahomi takuyesi, aloha ke akua kuleano, mahalo nui loa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amene.
Thank you.